Somebody said once that if you stand still in the forest long enough, you'll see signs of a hidden struggle. It's raging between forces of life and decay. That is the survival of the forest itself. If you don't believe it, then take a closer look. While other humans love the luxuries of city, this scientist has chosen to spend his life in the forests. Professor Bomba is not doing all this without a purpose. He's researching the mysterious tiny humanoids hiding in the forests. They are called the Leaf Men. Bomba has installed cameras and sensors all around the forest so he can get a glimpse of the Leaf Men. As soon as he receives a signal, Bomba rushes to that area, but only finds an injured bird. But it seems like someone used to ride it. Bomba is not just imagining things. Leaf Men do exist. One of them is Nod, who is a rebellious young man that often gets involved in risky activities. His guardian is a warrior named Ronan, who often stops Nod from fooling around. But Nod doesn't listen anymore. Meanwhile, another person is coming to visit the mysterious forest. It's a young girl named Mary Catherine, nicknamed MK. Her mother died recently, and her wish was to reunite MK with her father, Bomba. MK stops at her father's house, which looks like it's going to fall apart any time. MK steps in and starts looking for Bamba, but he is busy in his research. He gets surprised to see her daughter and takes her to the room while their old dog Ozzy follows them. MK's room hasn't changed after she left as a kid. She wants to have a relaxing conversation with her father, but Bamba receives a signal from his sensors and rushes to check it out. Today is a special day. It's going to be the full moon and the summer solstice together, which only happens after hundreds of years. It's an important day for Leaf Men, as the next heir will be chosen today. Ronan reaches the palace to inform Queen Terra about today's ceremony. Their enemy, the Boggans, have crossed the borders, which has raised security threats. They are after the queen because she has the power to keep the forest alive. Ronan is really worried for her and advises her not to step outside. The heir will be born through a flower pod chosen by the queen. But Ronan suggests that Terra stays hidden while the soldiers bring the pod to her. Terra refuses to do so as the pod must be chosen specifically by herself. This day comes after hundreds of years, so they can't lose this chance just because of the Boggans. Meanwhile, Mandrake, the ruler of the Boggans, is planning to destroy the Leaf Men's ceremony. Boggans want to rot the whole forest, but whenever they try that, Queen Tara regrows it again in seconds with her powers. Therefore, Mandrake has decided to kill the queen and orders his son Dagda to prepare the army to attack. The ceremony starts, and all the species of the forest gather to witness the selection of a new heir. Nod reaches there late like always, and gets scolded by Ronan. Nod's father was Ronan's close friend and requested Ronan to look after his son before he died. But Nod is losing his temper more frequently and tells Ronan that he quits his job as a Leafman warrior. Bomba is also looking forward to getting any signals on this special day, but MK is frustrated by his behavior. Her mother told her that Bamba imagines a highly civilized society of tiny humans living in the forest. He even ruined his career to research the forest, and his obsession also destroyed his married life. MK wants her father to move on from his weird beliefs, but Bamba says it's not just an imagination. He drags MK and shows her the sounds he recorded in the forest. After slowing it down multiple times, it feels like a proper conversation. Bomba says the tiny people are not spotted by anyone because they move at a way higher speed than normal humans, but they are the one responsible for keeping the balance of the forest. He wants her daughter to join his research, but MK doesn't want to research something that can't be even seen or heard. She begs her father to start a new life with her. She needs him. Before Bamba can answer, he gets a strong signal from the forest and rushes outside. MK gives up and decides to go back to live by herself. She leaves a note for her father and steps outside. But Ozzy starts running away and MK runs to catch him. Back at the ceremony, Queen Terra takes the help of Pod's caretaker Mub and Grub to choose the next heir. Terra makes her choice with her internal feelings and gives the pod her powers so it can grow into the next life of the forest. The beautiful moment is ruined by the sudden attack of the Boggans. The Leafmen get in positions to save the audience, and especially the Queen. The Boggans destroy the Queen's carriage, and she has to use her powers to drive away the enemies. The warriors come to get her, but she orders them to save others while she distracts the Boggans. Mandrake decides to go after the Queen himself, but Ronan reaches there to save her. They get continually attacked by arrows, and unfortunately one of them hits the Queen. She falls down where MK is looking for her dog. Suddenly, MK shrinks and becomes a tiny human. Without thinking much, she rushes to help Tara. The Queen gives her pod and tells her to take it to Nimgalu. Ronan reaches there and sees Tara dying in his arms. They had romantic feelings for each other, but didn't get a chance to express them. Ronan has no time to moan because he must take care of the next heir. He doesn't know much about the pod, but Nimgalu is a scroll keeper with lots of knowledge, so he might know more. That's why the Queen mentioned him. Mub and Grub join him too as they are the official caretakers of the pod. Ronan also invites MK as Tara must have chosen her for a purpose. Moreover, Nimgalu may know a spell to send MK back to her world. Unknown to what happened in the ceremony, Nod is busy competing in a race. He joined the race just as a placeholder and must not win. But Nod shows off his skills and wins the race. Mr. Bufo, who fixed the race, scolds Nod for drifting away from the plan. He orders his men to punish Nod, but Ronan comes to rescue him. He tells him all about what happened in the ceremony and the Queen's death, while Mr. Bufo is eavesdropping on them. Nod volunteers to help and let MK ride with him. He tries to show off his skills and drives carelessly through the trees. After a while, they reach the part of the forest that has been destroyed by the Boggans. While flying there, MK and Nod get attacked by the Boggans and fall in a hole. There's a rat living there. MK finds it really cute, but for the rat, the tiny humans are like food. They almost get eaten, but Ronan reaches there in time and scares away the filthy rat. He believes it's safer for MK to ride with him while Nod will travel with the slugs. The Boggans are still after them and kidnap Mr. Bufo. They ask him about what he heard from Ronan and where they are heading next. Meanwhile, Ronan and others have reached Nimgalu's place. Surprisingly, all the other leaf men have already gathered there looking for the answers. Nimgalu is like the wise old man of the forest. He claims that the tree he lives in contains the history of all the events ever happened in the forest. They are written in numerous scrolls. He tries to calm down the public who are panicking because of the rumors they hear about the Queen's death. Nimgalu picks up a scroll to read the truth, but he is left in shock after realizing that the rumors are true. He doesn't tell it to the public and goes to meet Ronan, who tells him about Queen's last words. Nimgalu doesn't know about the pod himself, but he can check out the past events of blooming pods that must be in the scrolls. He reads that once the pod is chosen by the Queen, it will bloom eventually, but it should happen under the light of a full moon. The half scroll is destroyed by the termites, so they can't know what will happen if there's no moonlight. Before leaving, MK asks for Nimgalu's help so she can return back home. He doesn't do magic or see the future, but he can replay the memories from the past. He opens the scroll of the moment when MK turned tiny. Queen Terra told her that she has a connection with the Leaf People. She must stay with the pod. Once her task is completed, she will return home. Ronan tells Nod to look after the pod till he informs the Leafmen at the Moonhaven Palace about their arrival. However, Nod believes that the pod is in a safe place, so he sneaks out with MK to impress her. They ride a deer together and get closer to each other. Just like Nod lost his dad, MK lost her mother, so they developed a good understanding. Unfortunately, the Boggans reached Nim's tree and kidnapped the pod along with the two snails. Ronan scolds Nod for his negligence and calls him a selfish person who doesn't care about the life of the forest. Ronan decides to follow the Boggans by himself, but MK calms him down and suggests they should do it together. She even has a good plan. They can disguise themselves as the Boggans and sneak in their place to rescue the pod. MK believes they can find some of Boggans' costumes in her dad's house. Meanwhile, Mandrake blames the Leafman for his son's death. As revenge, he will let the pod blossom in the darkness and make him the Boggans' prince. That's what was written in the damaged part of the scroll. Leafmen must hurry to save their lives. MK finds a bunch of insect parts his father has collected. They can be used to look like Boggans. Nod and Ronan recognize Bomba because they have seen him in the forest. They start making fun of Bomba because of his slow speed compared to their own. They also mock the old scientist who will never be able to find the Leaf Men as they keep distracting him to the wrong places. MK feels really bad and reveals that Bomba is her father. She further proceeds to grab Bomba's attention to let him know that he was right. Suddenly Ozzy attacks them out of nowhere and Bomba notices them too. He runs around with a vacuum machine to catch them. Ronan and Nod run away, but MK gets caught. However, Bomba faints in shock after seeing his own daughter. Before leaving, MK marks Moonhaven's location on the map. They disguise themselves as Boggans and enter their place. Ronan distracts the guards while Nod and MK rescue the pod. Mandrake spots them and calls his army. Ronan sacrifices himself and tells Nod and MK to run away with the pod. They fly to Moonhaven where all the preparations have already been done. The pod is placed under moonlight, but suddenly it starts getting interrupted. The Boggans are blocking the moonlight. Nod wears the warrior uniform and leads the army in place of Ronan. MK wants to help, but Nim asks her why she wants to sacrifice everything for a world she can't even see. This reminds her of her father who sacrificed everything to discover a world he couldn't see. She rushes to get his help and finds the cameras. Bamba has woken up, but he assumes that everything was a dream. He lost his wife and his daughter for the sake of worthless research. Thinking this, Bambat turns off all of his monitors without realizing that her daughter is calling him. But then, he notices the mark on the map and realizes that he wasn't dreaming. He rushes to Moonhaven and meets his daughter. However, he is too stunned to listen or speak. MK pulls out his phone and turns on a video of bats. This distracts the Boggans and they run after Bomba. Ronan is still alive and he stands beside Nod to knock off Mandrake. The pod blooms under full moonlight and chooses a young citizen as the next queen. Everyone bows to her and the forest gets a new life. As the mission is completed, it's time time for MK to return home. She says a warm goodbye to Nod and kisses him as a confession of her love. A few days pass by. MK has decided to work with her dad and create books and documentaries about the Leaf Men. Besides that, whenever Nod has time, he stops by in front of the cameras and talks to MK. Though she couldn't continue her romance with Nod, they are still good friends. Just because you can't see it, you can't assume that it doesn't exist. Sometimes you must take a second look, a closer one.